Welcome to Computer Retro Bus. On a previous episode, we turned a boring old black box into this beige beast, blast from the past. It was a great episode, got some fantastic feedback from you guys, really appreciate it. Today we're taking it up to the next step and giving this guy a partner with a cool beige conversion of an LCD screen. So I've got to give a big shout out to one of the viewers, Junkyard Dog. He's the one who actually suggested this to me. I've never pulled apart a monitor or an LCD screen. It was actually a fantastic suggestion. I thought, you know what, that's great. I'm going to try and do this. I wanted to try a slightly different shade of beige, and my God, there's 50 shades of beige. There's a lot of shades. So I ran into some challenges, but I really didn't want to use the same one, mainly because the can was an absolute horror show. The color, fantastic. I'm so happy with the color, but the can itself was terrible. It was a Dulux can and it just always kept clogging up. I always had to constantly dip that nozzle into acetone to clean it every 5 minutes. It just drove me mad. I went and got another can, same problem. I thought, no, I'm not going to that again. I'm gonna pick a different paint this time and see how I go with that. And I actually started looking back at all those beige boxes over my childhood and over the time with computers. And it wasn't a universal color, which is why you always saw all these different shades with the drives and DVD ROMs and all that sort of stuff, always just slightly off. Then you had companies like Olivetti, which is much more gray, really heavy in the grayer side of the beige. If you like my content, please like and subscribe. I really want to try and grow this channel. I'm having a great time interacting with you guys. So let's get that happening. In the meanwhile, I'm gonna go grab that monitor, go get some paint and get this show on the road. So the monitor I've decided to use for this is the Dell P2213T. This is an older monitor. It's 22 inches, not full HD, it's 1680 by 1050 resolution. But this is actually a pretty cool monitor to use for retro gaming because it actually keeps the aspect ratio on a 4:3 resolution. It doesn't stretch it across the screen. First thing I'm going to do is take that stand off, and it really doesn't get more simple than this. Press the button and just take it off. Underneath where the stand went in, I'm presented with 4 screws. Simple enough, just take them off. The other great thing about this monitor is that it does have quite a good variety of inputs. So it does have VGA, DVI and DisplayPort. Now, as mentioned earlier, I have never pulled apart an LCD monitor or a tube or anything like that before, so I did have a look at a few tutorials, and apparently it's pretty straightforward. The front bezel just clips off. Initially I overthought it. I tried to use a bit of a little screwdriver to do it, but then you know what, the easiest way to do it is just to shove your fingers in the front and just pull it out. The only thing that's attached to the bezel are the front control buttons, so just got to unscrew that little PCB and you have the bezel completely free. So now that there's no attachments, I can simply flip it over and take the back of the monitor case off. Now, while the monitor was pretty straightforward, the stand on the other hand was a little bit more complicated. It does have a built-in mechanism to be able to adjust the height of the monitor, so it was a little bit more complicated to pull apart. It was really held together with a combination of screws and a lot of the clipping stuff. It's just a matter of understanding in which order do I attack this thing, but got there in the end. Here we have all our parts broken down, ready to be sprayed. With these silver bits, I decided to actually leave them alone rather than just blasting everything in beige. I wanted to keep those cool little silver hints to give it a bit of a character. Initially I was planning to mask the Dell logo to keep that nice shiny finish, but I did end up scrapping this idea because I couldn't get it absolutely perfect, so it was going to look a bit crummy, and decided, you know what, I'll just spray over the whole lot. I did, however, need to remove the stickers from the back of the monitor. The best way to do this is to always use a hairdryer, heat up and let that adhesive loosen, and then just peel it off. As we're getting right towards the end of the beige era and the black boxes and silver boxes were coming, the beige at that stage had really lightened up, and it was almost an off-white. I even found some old photos in my research. Here is young me in a LAN. Here's another one. This is my cousin reinstalling Windows 2000 in the middle of a LAN because his system had crashed. I remember that. And you can sort of see the color of his monitor, that really light beige that I talk about. Shout out to Muha. So with that in mind, back I went to the hardware store and I was reunited with my 2 friends from the original. This time I decided to go with the heirloom white and try and get that lighter beige that I was looking for. So here we are with all our pieces ready to be sprayed. We start with a couple of light coats of primer. Obviously you don't want to spray it on too much, we don't want runs, just light easy coats, let them dry in between. And now moving on to the color that I've selected. I must say these Rust-Oleum cans are actually fantastic. They're very strong in color, like each spray really covers quite a bit, which is what they advertise on the can, and I must say it is correct. The Dulux that I used, I really needed lots and lots of coats and a couple of cans, whereas in this case one can actually did the whole thing. It just has really good coverage for one little can. After waiting an hour or so, I was ready to apply the next coat. So I ended up actually doing 3 coats all up, which is pretty good. As I said, the can had fantastic coverage. You really want to wait between those coats. The more you wait, the better it is. It just bonds much better and doesn't blend into the layer that's underneath that quite hasn't hardened yet. So this is what it looked like the next day. It's looking really good. It's got that lovely texture. But I still wanted to wait an extra 3 or 4 days for it to dry properly. With Rust-Oleum, they actually recommend 5 to 7 for plastics. You really don't want to rush it because it can scuff quite easily. Now it's time to put it all back together, which didn't worry me too much apart from the actual stand, which I pulled apart in a bit of a hurry and was making it up as I went, to be honest. I didn't know how it worked. I was just pulling it apart. And I wasn't sure how I was going to get it back together because I had screws all over the place and wasn't sure which part went into which area and etc, etc. But through trial and error, I found my way. I was actually really glad that I left the silver bits and didn't spray everything beige. I think it actually gives it a really nice accent. Bit of a modern look to it, but I think it looks really well actually. Great contrast between the beige. And here we have the stand, all resprayed, reassembled, looking great. I actually was so happy with the way it turned out. I think the silver accent with the beige looks fantastic. Really happy with it. Now moving on to the LCD panel itself. First thing I need to do was reinstall that button that is used to lock the stand in, and also put back in that Dell logo. I left them both black. I wanted them to, again, have a bit of contrast. I also left the front panel buttons black as well, including the power button. So next it was just a matter of putting them back in and also attaching the circuit board back to the front bezel. Almost there now. Now I'm just putting the panel face down back into the bezel, getting it all ready, and then putting the back cover on. Once the back cover's on, there's 4 screws that screw back into the controller box and hold it all together. Then it's just a matter of really lifting it up and just clipping it all back in, getting those satisfying clicks as you push that bezel back in. And the final step couldn't be simpler. These Dell stands are actually really well designed. They just slot in and click in so simply. So we're all complete, and now time for the big reveal. Okay, so all done, plugged up and running. It's looking pretty good. I must say, one thing that I love about this model of screen, again, I'll reiterate it again, is that when you do give it a 4:3 signal, it doesn't stretch the screen. You can see it just keeps the bands, it keeps the aspect ratio correct, which I love. Not all 16:9s do that, so I love it that this screen does. In terms of the color, I've got really mixed feelings, to be honest. I was really happy with it till I brought it into this room and started looking at it next to these guys. You can sort of see it's not right. It's too warm, too creamy, too much yellow. So yeah, I'm really still struggling with finding that correct color of beige. So if you guys have any ideas, shoot me up in the messages. We need to find the correct tone of beige for all our sakes. So yeah, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. if I'm gonna try and correct it or live with it or spray a different one. I do have another, which I'm thinking about maybe doing. This one is another spare monitor I have. And this one has this sort of a more wider bezel like the old CRT monitors used to have. So this one might be a good little project to try it on. But yeah, again, I would not use the same color I used this time. I think it's not quite right. But yeah, thank you for watching. It was a great project. I still had a lot of fun doing it. I learned a lot about how LCD monitors are put together. So my next one should be a bit easier. But yeah, give me some comments. Really love the interaction. Love the feedback that you guys are giving me. As always, if you like my content, please like and subscribe. I'm really enjoying my YouTube journey with you guys so far. It's been fantastic, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Thank you.